Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikareli from Excel Basement, and in this video we will be learning one very good function of Microsoft Excel, which is called choose function. And through that function, we will be utilizing that very effectively on our this short P&L report, which consists of the projection for the next 5 years based on the different scenarios. For example, there is one company who do the sales, right? And for the next 5 years, they want to have a projections that how their sales growth will impact on their P&L based on the three different scenarios, one at a time. For example, they have come up with an idea and a percentage that if the company do sales with the base scenario, which is the 6% of the every year. So when we uh, let's say when we copy this percentages and paste on this raw, which is raw number 10, uh, pertain to the sales growth. When we copy and paste this percentages, definitely are all the numbers of the P&L, which is the sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, changes, and our report is now based on the base scenario for the next 5 years projections of that company growth. And if the company changes this scenario, for example, they need to see this impact for the next 5 years on the best scenario, which is the 10 percentage, which is 10% for the next 5 years. So what every time we need to just copy those percentages of that particular scenario and paste on this raw number 10 that pertains to the sales growth. And you can see that the P&L has been changed, the numbers has been revised according to this scenario percentage. So every time we need to copy and paste all those percentages to this sales growth raw, uh, instead of doing this manually copy and paste, what we will do, we will apply one of the function which is called the choose function of Microsoft Excel. And through that function, it will pick the particular scenario one at a time, and definitely all numbers will be changed accordingly. And we can see the projection for the next 5 years according to our sales growth scenario. So there is a very beautiful function that is called choose function. Let me explain you. For example, if I write my name, there are three different names in three different cells. And if I apply the choose function of Microsoft Excel, so the first argument, which is called the index number, which always consists of a number, positive number. For example, if I write 2 here, okay, so you will be getting the impact later on why I have write 2 or any other number. So in the index number you will have the number, then in the next function argument, which is called the value one, you will select the first cell which contains some of the data inside the cell, either text or a number, then comma value 2 for the another cell reference, and then value 3. Now, instead of pressing the enter key, let me explain you what this function will do for you. It will choose or select the second value because I have written index number that is 2. In our function, there are three different cell references, right? So I am telling Microsoft Excel that choose or pick second value. And on the second value, there is a C4 because on first value, there is a C3, then second C4, and then third C5. So whatever will be in C4 will definitely comes in this particular cell where I have applied the choose function. That is the Zulfikar. And for example, if I tell choose function to pick the third value, so according to this sequence, the third value is the C5 cell reference, right? So choose function will pick the third value, which is C5, and in C5 there is a written word Ali, right? So one at a time, the choose function according to the index number picks up the cell references which is sequenced in the choose function values arguments. All right. So now coming back to this PNL, what we will be doing is applying the choose function instead of manually copying and pasting every time a different scenario percentages to the sales growth raw. We will be applying the choose function. So equals to choose index number. Now here either I write a number manually, or if there is a number, if there is a cell contains a number, I can just refer to that cell. So in my case, there is a C4 cell which will generate a number, or I can write or add a number in this cell, and I will make this cell absolute. All right, because when I copy and paste this choose function to the right side, so I need this particular cell C4 to be use in every column of the year wise growth sales percent. So index number C4, which will be the absolute cell reference. In the value one, I will just uh, have the D5, which is pertain to the first scenario, which is the base scenario for the organization, 6%. Then the next scenario, which is located in the D6 cell, which represent the best scenario, and the third value will be the worst scenario, which is in D7. I will just close this function and I will copy and paste this function by selecting the range and pressing the Control R to copy and paste to the right side of the spreadsheet. So now, for example, if I come to the C4 cell and when I press the 1 key on my keyboard, and or you can say when I write 1 here and I press the enter, you can see that this choose function brings the first scenario percentage, which is the 6%, right? And if I just change this 1 into 3, for example, so choose functions very effectively giving me or selecting for us the worst scenario percentage, which is the third case in our scenario, right? So this choose function is very short, concise, and fulfilling our requirement according to our report. Alternatively, might be you thinking that we can use the index match or VLOOKUP by adding some helper columns or extra columns to uh, grab or to fetch the different scenarios based on this report. You can do that, but instead of using many rows and extra columns, I have effectively explained you in this video that how choose function can be handy in your reports when you need to change the scenario and then report will change. One more technique which I want to tell you in this video is that instead of adding every time when I need to change the scenario, I need to change the number here, right? So what I need to do is I need to create a drop down list, and in that drop down list there will be the scenario names, and the choose function will pick that scenario percentage accordingly. So for doing that, I am not adding the data validation list from the data tab. I will be adding the combo box from the developer tab. So if in case you are watching this video and you don't find the developer tab in your Excel version, so what you need to do is you just need to active that tab from the file options. Okay. So for doing that, you need to go, if the developer tab is not available, go to file tab, click on file tab, and then go to options. Okay. Here you will find this Excel option is screen. Then go to the customize ribbon, right? And on the right side you will see that here you have the developer option, but you have not checked this checkbox. So just make this checkbox checked and press OK. So as soon as you press OK, you will be having the developer tab on your Excel interface. So now from here you will go click on insert tab, and in the form controls category you need to select this second object, which is called the combo box. Make sure you don't select these ActiveX controls. You don't need to go to this ActiveX controls now, but in the form controls you need to have this object which is called combo box. Just click on this, drag and drop, and sketch this on your spreadsheet. Now this drop down menu is blank. We need to fill this drop down menu. How we can do that? Right click on this object. You will have this contextual menu. The last option, which is called format control, go to format control. Now you will get the format control tab. In the control tab you have two fields which you need to fill in. The input range is the range you need to fill when you open the drop down menu. There is a list. So in the input range you need to select the three scenario names, which is base, best, and worst. Okay, and you need to link this object with a particular cell. So I will link this object with a cell which is called C4 in my scenario, and I will press the OK. So now when you open this drop down menu, you will see the three scenarios list down for you. When you click on first scenario, which is the base, when you click on this object, definitely because this object has been linked with the cell, so it generates one automatically. Again, you open this list, you have three items. If you select the third item, which is or the list item, which is the worst, when you click on this third item, it generates three, and according to that the choose functions picks up the third cell, which is the worst scenario percentage in our case. So finally, what you can do is you can just drag and place this drop down menu here on the upper side of the cell, and now you can just select the scenario, right? You are just selecting the scenario, and the percentages are automatically fetching through the choose function, and definitely its impact on the P&L below for the next 5 years projections. So I hope you like this technique. You can make your report this kind of flexibility instead of using very complex functions. You can come up with very easy solutions. Thank you.